As a personal trainer living in Los Angeles, I've been out here for, 10, 11 years now. And I grew up in a small town. So this is, it's a very interesting place to live and to train people, train millionaires, to train, people doing a lot of crazy things with their life, all kinds of interesting things. But what I've come to realize is it's not that, yes, everybody is different, everybody's unique, whatever. But all I'm doing is I'm interacting with egos all day, all day. I've got my own ego I'm dealing with. And then every interaction I have with people is, okay, how do I get around this person's ego? And I get to a point where if you do certain things, I'm moving around you. I'm just not going to allow you to be a part of my life. And that's just how it is. Now, when I'm training people, I have to do something to continue the relationship, even though their ego is getting in the way of what this could be. And that's where my maturity plays a role. And I've matured through the process of training people and coaching people. And I've gotten pretty good at working around people's egos. And it's, it's kind of good for me, especially when I'm training men, because like I teach people how to fight. Like, I grew up wrestling. I wrestled in college for a little bit. I wrestled my whole youth, and then got into MMA, learned jiu-jitsu, learned striking. So I teach people how to fight. And so, when things kind of can get a little weird, ego-wise, I can always check them. And thank God that I can check people, check other men, because sadly, a lot of men have no idea how they would really fare in a fight. But they just have this huge ego when it comes to fighting. Like, nah, if somebody made me mad enough, I'd beat the shit out of them. And you're just like, huh? You know how hard that is? So I'm dealing with that all the time, but I can always check somebody. And that's the beautiful thing about being someone who knows how to fight and knows how to wrestle, and that's what I'm promoting. Like when you want to train with me, you're training with a guy who knows how to fight, who knows how to strength and condition the body for fighting and for any other sport. If you can do it for fighting, you can do it for any other sport. And wrestling, you can do it for any other sport. And I know how the body moves. I know how the body works. I can make you build a better relationship with your body. And I'm certified nutrition, so it's like when it comes to health and fitness, like if you want to talk to somebody, talk to me. Now, it doesn't matter that I can do this, I know this, I know this person, I trained with this person, I am that person. The egos of people always get in the way of getting that information out to people or to them, and for them to even receive it. I've had conversations with people that I've trained. Okay, this is what's funny about being me, is I'm confident in the things that I talk about because I know them. I know how to fight. I know how to wrestle. I understand philosophy. I understand how to argue. I understand logic. I understand personal training and nutrition. I will tell my clients things, okay, that they don't know. And I'm telling it to them all the time because I'm always researching things, keeping up with, training protocols of this fighter or this wrestling team, or, keeping up with nutrition from all the doctors that I follow on the internet. And I'm always reading books in theology and in philosophy and keeping up with current events. I'm keeping up with politics. So I'm coming. I love to learn things because I find value in them. And for me, I just always felt like I didn't have the knowledge. I was always playing catch up with everybody. For some reason, I always felt that way. And so in the process of trying to catch up, I enjoyed it and made it part of my life. But anyways, my whole point is I will tell my clients things. Weeks later, they will tell me the exact same information as if they're telling me for the first time. Or they're telling me like I never told them. I had a guy do that to me one time. And he was like, well, you know, this, and this, that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, dude. I was like, wow, where'd you hear that? He goes, yeah, I don't know. I was reading something or this some video. I was like, dude, I told you that 2 weeks ago. What? Yeah. Like, as a trainer, you do have moments in that relationship where you're like, oh, a lot of what I say is taken, but not accredited to me. And you're like, wow, what is that? What is that? Because, you know, people, it's a very interesting thing that happens. When people train with me, they like the fact that I'm a badass and I can fight and I wrestled and I'm confident, but yet I've got a good heart and I care about them. I want to coach them, I want to train them. I really care about them as a person because that's what you have to do to coach someone properly. But then there's something that happens where they get kind of sick and tired of me being always right. And the only thing that is ego. Like, you're spending so much money on me, and now you're kind of, you want to like prove me wrong? Like, well, I just don't understand. Like, prove me wrong. But when your argument doesn't hold up, why keep fighting it, man? Like you're paying for me. You're paying for my knowledge on things I'm certified in. Look, politics is something else. We can have our different opinions on that, and we can spend time after the session even talking about it. And I do that all the time. Religion, we can talk about that and all this stuff. But like when it comes to fighting, personal training, and nutrition, and you want to like, I don't know, forcefully debate me, like that's weird. That's where it gets weird, but it gets that way with some clients. And you can't do anything about it. I used to think that I could do something about that, but the only thing that I could do, and this is what I would do my whole life, because I was very aware of people's egos and how they would get triggered and angry and upset very quickly. And so I started to downplay myself and keep my opinions to myself and try not to offend them. But if they're just offended by them being wrong and me being right, even when I'm willing to talk, even when the internet exists and you can look something up on your phone, then I can't stop. I can't start suppressing myself then. So that's why I'm on the internet now talking about my ideas and my thoughts, because there's too many people out there that I can help that actually want help. You know, when I find clients, I can help everybody, right? I can improve everyone that comes to me and wants to train. I can improve and help them build. But there's something there are limits to that. And the reason I know that is not because of training adults, but it really comes down to when I was coaching kids. When I was a wrestling coach, I had kids who would not listen to me. They did not value me at all. And they didn't value me, one specifically, because of how his dad thought about me. And how I know that is the second day that I was coaching at the high school. The kid came up to me and questioned me about where I wrestled in college. And I was like, he's like, you didn't wrestle there. And I was like, okay, all right. Why do you say that? And he's like, my dad looked you up and couldn't find you. And I was like, okay. All right. Start running. We got practice. Start warming up. Like, I don't care. From that day forward, him and I were like this. He wouldn't listen to a thing I would say. Everything I said was stupid. Was not going to help him, even though him and I had almost identical wrestling styles. When I was in high school, I wrestled a lot like him, and I learned so much in college that would have made me better in high school, and I was like, this is the kid that I'm going to help. This kid, I've got all the answers for this kid to improve his style. Didn't listen to a thing I said. Didn't listen to a thing I said for the, was it 2 or 3 years I coached him? And he didn't get better. He was good, and he just stopped improving. And for years after that, I would think back on that, and I'd be like, oh, man, I could have helped him. What could I have done? Oh, I could have helped him. Now I know there was nothing I could have done because he had a standard in his mind that was based on what his dad's standard was, right? He adopted from his dad. And his dad's standard was, I don't believe this guy wrestled here. This guy is not worth listening to. He's full of BS. Or something like that, right? And it sucks so bad because the kid didn't know any better. He was just listening to his dad. And I tried. For those years I was coaching him, I tried to break through to him. It got to a point, okay, we're at the state tournament. Okay, we're at the state tournament. And we're coaching this kid. And, you go out of bounds, the referee blows a whistle, and you reset. Those are very precious moments because it's like, 3, 4, 5 seconds max where your athlete can look to you, and if you have something to say, like, hey, he's grabbing your wrist, you got to prevent that. You've got to get that cleared first. Those are very important things and moments so that you can tell your kid something. During every reset, they went out of bounds, the ref blew the whistle, reset them. He was not looking at us. He was looking up in the stands at his dad. Immediately look up at his dad. His dad would yell something from the stands at him, and then he would look at us. And we're like, what? Dude, what? Look at us. We're your coaches. But neither one of them valued us. Although, even though I wrestled at the University of Oklahoma, and the head coach wrestled at the University of Iowa State. Great wrestling programs, fantastic wrestling rooms, and apparently we knew nothing. But his dad, who never wrestled in college, maybe never wrestled at all, I'm not sure. But he knew more than us, and it was better for his kid to look at him in between resets and out of bounds. So anyways, after the match, I was just so irritated. I'm like, yo, like, your son has to look at us. I think I went up to him and I told him, I was like, look, we have to coach him. We can't have him looking up at you. Well, he's like, well, he can do whatever he wants to do or something like that. I'm like, why are you making this so complicated, man? Like, what is it against? What do you have against me? He's like, I think I have something against you. I can't even remember how that conversation went. But it got a little feisty. I didn't say anything. I didn't cuss at him or anything. But it was just, it had been boiling to a head for a couple years. And this was his senior year, which is crazy. It was his senior year. And so after the tournament, after the season was over, I think, he requests to have a meeting with the head coach and me about me, because he wants to talk to me. And my head coach John says, "Hey, he wants to talk to you, blah blah." And I was like, "Good, okay, cool." He's like, "Are you sure? You don't have to talk to." I'm like, "No, yeah, I'll talk to him." So we sit down in a room at the school. I'm just sitting there, I'm just waiting for him to tell me what he wants to say. And then he just goes on this kind of like little rant about like, I guess the way I coached and the like to be honest, I can't remember his argument because I didn't even engage with his argument. What I said immediately was this. I said, "Look, man, Chris is a great wrestler. He could have been a lot better, but you're on his case all the time. And you make wrestling a very stressful thing for him. And so he locks up and shuts down in his matches because you're yelling at him, okay? You're not supporting him. You're just yelling at him, demanding him do this, this, and this, and he can't do it, and he's losing his matches." So then he just shuts down. And then we're sitting on the edge like, what are you doing? Now, listen to us, but it's too late. He's been emotionally broken, and so, or psychologically broken, and so he can't perform, and he loses his matches. And I said, "Look, wrestling is only a short time in Chris's life. You've got the rest of your life and his life to have a relationship with him. And what I see is wrestling is getting in the way of that relationship, and it's going to cause issues in that relationship for the rest of his life because of how hard you are on him." And the reason I know that is because that's how it was with my dad. My dad was extremely hard on us, and only because of wrestling was our relationship strained into my adulthood. It was the way he treated us, the way he demanded perfection and excellence out of us, and that affected our relationship until the day he died. And the guy looks at me, starts tearing up, and he was like, "Thank you. Thank you for saying that." And I'm looking at him, and then I look at John, the head coach, and I'm like, the dad's got his head down, just like, "Thank you. I needed to hear that." I'm like, "Yeah, dude. Like, I care about your kid." Like, he wrestled a lot like me. I wanted to help him. But he came in the second day that I was ever coaching here and told me that you said that about me, that you don't even think I wrestle where I wrestled. And that has gotten in the way of me trying to help your son all these years. So that's all I want to say. He was like, "Okay, thank you." And then we shook hands, and I'm talking to John like, "Dude, come." He was like, "Wow." He's like, that was really nice. The way you said, I didn't see that coming. I was like, egos. You're always dealing with egos. Only recently have I been able to recognize, because of my psychedelic therapy, recognize that there was nothing I could have done to help either one of them before that conversation. Maybe I could have been nicer. Maybe I could have, from the very beginning, just started to, just put all my heart into building this relationship with this person that has this misconception of me. But, I used to do that a lot. And people are gonna like you or not like you, and you just have to accept it, because some egos are just never, you're just never going to satisfy them. And that's a person that needs a lot of self-work. And they're not doing it. And you can't do it for them. Because here's the thing, like, if you get somebody like that to like you and you do one thing, prove to me again that, you're this or that. And then you're just reacting to these other people's egos all the time, instead of just like putting all your cards on the table and be like, "Hey, look, this is me. This is the gambit of me." If you don't like it, that's too bad. I'm really trying to be, the best I can be here. I know you're not perfect. Thank you for showing me that you know that I'm not perfect. But I'm not gonna try to make you like me more than I need to. If I would never have had that experience as a coach of middle school and high school kids, it would have been even harder to train adults. But because of my psychedelic therapy, I see every adult as just another kid, just like me. And there's no like, this guy's, above me in some way because he's like 30 years older than me, or like, no, we're all dealing with our inner child, the little boy inside of us. Whether that kid's needs was met or they weren't, and then how we reacted to that has shifted and created whatever life that we have and whatever heart that we have now. And guess what? I didn't do any of that. And I can't change any of that for that person because nobody can change it for me. So dealing with egos all day can make life a little easier when you just look at it like that. Like, everyone I come into contact with today is just another kid who has had issues in their life that they've reacted to a certain way, even though that person is 50 years old or 60 years old or 70 years old. I'm not taking anything personal. Like that's them. That's their reacting because I know all of my stuff's me. Because I'm so aware of everyone and everyone's egos and what it looks like, how it manifests itself and expresses itself in conversation, in relationship, as a trainer, as somebody's coach. It makes me aware of my own stuff. How do I, when I react a certain way, where's that coming from? And I try, look, one of the reasons why this stuff, I see it and it's abrasive to me is because it's things I'm trying not to do, and that's why I am a coach because I'm constantly trying not to do these things, and most people don't know how to do that. Most people do not know how to check their own ego, and I'm not here trying to say, well, you're just a piece of shit if you can't check your own ego, blah, blah, blah. What I'm here saying is that is where so much growth is. And you're missing such an opportunity to grow and experience deeper connection with yourself, with others, and with God. But anyways, that's it. Those are just my thoughts.